everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tolu Dialogues. This is 2026 and this is our very, very first episode. My name is ToluDialogues, the host of the show. The theme for this episode is No One is Coming to Save You. We will be talking about authenticity, greed, and we'll be discussing owning your voice, knowing your value, and showing up as who you really are. Even when you're scared, or even when you feel like you don't belong. Today we have a very, very special guest, Ivie Osula. You're charging me so high, and then you're not even accountable for the things in the
So value has to match.
Yes, but they're not ready to walk the walk. And what you said about you work hard. We are proud of you.
I'm proud of myself too. Inspire, empower, elevate.
We're also talking about imposter syndrome as an entrepreneur. And yes, all of us have heard that little voice that says, who do you think you are? We would also be talking about confidence, about pricing your work without guilt, and building a brand that you love. Not what the world or society thinks it should be, because many founders are talented, but they hide, they shrink, they underprice, they wait for the permission. And ToluDialogues exists to say you don't need the permission. In this episode, I'm joined by Ivie Osula, a female entrepreneur who has moved across 3 continents in the last 7 years, Africa, Middle East, and North America, yet built a business that still stands strong, still relevant, and still global. Our story reminds us that your location can change, your environment can change, but when you know who you really are, your work and your impact can travel with you and express itself unapologetically anywhere you go. This conversation is for every founder who has ever felt invisible, for anyone rebuilding in a new place, for anyone learning to trust their voice again. This is ToluDialogues, here to inspire, empower, and elevate. Let's talk. So welcome, Ivie Osula.
That was an amazing introduction. My head was sweating.
You deserve it, girl. I tell you, you're my celeb friend. Like, she's a celeb. Like, for real, she's a celeb. So how are you doing? How was it getting here? Was he okay?
Good, it was good.
Okay. Ivie, let's get into this. Like, I'm really excited to talk to you, to share your story, everyone, because you're just amazing. You've done amazing things. Welcome, Ivie Osula. It's lovely to have you on the set today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. You were reading out my accolades. I was like, is this me?
It's you, girl. Own it, own it, own it, own it, own it, own it. Yeah. And this is our celeb. I say, actually, Ivie is a celeb. Like, honestly, she's very humble about it, but I say like she's my celeb.
How's the celeb? It doesn't take back.
Yes, you're a celeb. Anyway, let's get into it, because I've got lots of questions to ask you.
Okay.
And just to say, by the matter of fact, I'm wearing her DWL, all this. If you're loving my hair, this is Beam's hair. So let's get into the questions. We're going to talk more about DWL. You guys will be intrigued. So I'm going to just try and read some questions to you. And I know you're very authentic. I've met you. Your confidence exudes, and that's one of the reasons why I'm giving this. I'm inviting you to this particular episode because I feel you're going to do it justice. You're going to kill it. And viewers, get ready. You're going to learn. Get your pen, get your notepads. There's a lot to learn. Just follow us through this. So there's a moment where many founders don't talk about, that moment when you realize that you've been shrinking to fit in a room. When did you notice that about you, as in for yourself? And what helped you stop?
Well, I was the child that they called Oversabi from when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, I don't want to call it imposter syndrome yet. Stepping into rooms can be overwhelming. But if I'm being honest, I have always done too much. So maybe that kind of helps me, stagger. I have moved countries. I'm going to get into that later. I've moved countries a lot. And no matter how confident, everybody says Ivie is confident. When you step into new turf, you will shake. But I think that part of me that tells people, hey, they can't beat me now. It's what helps me overcome. What's in my mind, I said, they can't beat me and just help me overcome. That is just the superficial part. Also, I'm also very good in going into places and trying to establish networks here, so that for every loud negative voice I hear, I always surround myself with people around me that will remind me to say, you are the business. So I think that's just not saying too much. That's something that kind of helps me with getting myself back. The people I surround myself with, very important. Friends or family, I'm very selective about them, so that they will always gas me when I feel like I should shrink because this place doesn't look familiar, or the tough feeling is a bit hard.
And I can understand that, like, you're feeding off the energy around you, and that just propels you. Yeah, I like that. Did you guys hear that? People you surround yourself with matters. So, Ivie, one of the things you spoke about is you moving across 3 continents, guys. Not 3 countries, continents, in the last 7 years. But yet, you've remained globally relevant. How have you managed that?
It has been tough on the outside. Okay, let me give people's feedback. One thing I know, when people tell me I believe it now, is if you take Ivie to the desert, she will survive. I believe it now because it has happened time and time again. But I want to say it is tough because Nigeria is my turf. I grew up in Lagos. I'm a Lagos girl. So we did in Lagos, where I grew up, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and now Canada. Every new country you move into, the closest feeling is like you're just the newest kid on the block in GS1. When you have to, hello, my name is Ivie, nice to meet you. Hello, nice to meet you. Where do I get pepper? Where do I get that? How do I get my business in? So it can be very daunting, if I'm being honest. But one of the things I've seen now is my ability to find my tribe, my small tribe, my networking skills, which I would proudly say I'm very good at, comes into place, which helps me break into, rooms, meeting through people. And then I remind myself that I belong. I remind myself that there's something called new realities. If I want to start from personal to professional, from how people come to knock on the door to tell my kids to play at 12 midnight because they're doing Ramadan in Qatar, to realizing that women in Qatar are not necessarily 9 to 5ers and they're looking for suits in DWL to go for events. Like along the strata, to realizing that there's nothing like, people start the day very late and at 2 a.m. you can see people walking around. New realities. I tell people, don't fight the new reality, embrace it. When you were in Lagos, you did things the Lagos way. You're in Qatar now, do things the Qatar way. Get to Canada, go and buy 2 deep freezers like everybody. So I think ability to, embrace new realities is something that's helped me.
So would you say that is the same principle you've applied to your business while you're still globally relevant?
Oh yes. One of the things, like I said, that I did was I'm very big on people. People are such a huge part of my story. And if I want to use, let me use Qatar, for example. I got into Qatar, stayed for a few months, realized that I needed to get into the fashion ecosystem of the place, but randomly went into events I saw on Instagram, and I was opportune to meet somebody, Harriet, who just changed the trajectory of everything. People see me and Harriet and they say, if you see Ivie and Harriet together, they can take over the world. I found my one tribe, and that tribe exploded. With her, I was able to break into rooms, and it's not just people breaking you into rooms. Once I enter the room, I know that people will find my relevance. I always know, what are you bringing to the table? It's not just to say, okay, like you'll say, involve me. If you get into the room, can you show, can you bring something to the table? So I've also learned to adapt. I started off DWL dressing. By the way, I know we'll get into that. I wanted to dress like Jessica Pearson of Suits. That's how I got into it. So I used to dress all the power ladies in Lagos. I got into Qatar. The women there were not necessarily 9 to 5. I had to pivot to know, okay, DWL is still a tailored suiting brand. What can I do to these people? So I realized, I needed to make design suits for them that they can wear to events. And that's how, when I say DWL is a one-stop tailored suiting brand for women now, it's because I've moved into countries and I've been able to accommodate the realities of those places. So that's what has helped me stay relevant. So by getting in there, even if I got in there and realized, okay, I need to do a lot more for corporate events, social dinners, there was also still opportunity to sell the power dressing to them. And by the time I was leaving Qatar, Web Summit is happening. I'm there dressing women. United General Assembly in New York is there. People are going for weddings. I'm dressing them. So I think ability to adapt, and pivot and read the room and see what they want has helped me to stay relevant. I'm new in Canada now. You went to DWL already. Exactly. I've also scanned the room. This is how many weathers do we have in Canada? Maybe 3 weather country.
4.
Is it 4? Okay, fall and spring is not the same thing. I don't know, guys. So we have winter, and then I've started to say, what are the things I can also make in this climb that the women in this climb want? And I've started testing long line blazers, which are going to roll out soon. So I think just ability to scan the room and know what is relevant for everyone, not trying to force what I know on people, has helped me stay relevant in different continents and countries I've moved. And this is people's feedback. So it's not even me bragging, but I've done it time and time again. And I can see that.
Okay, you were speaking about your friend Harriet. And I was just thinking about when I was reading your portfolio, the fact that you've worked with Valentino, the fact that you worked with Off-White, and even when the Qatar World Cup was going on, you exhibited. I'm like, how? Because I know that must be like warning. It's like when you have a child that is into soccer and the child is like, oh, I'm going to be the next Ronaldo. I'm going to pray for the European Premier League. What are the odds? Like, there's like one. So that's like a 1 in 100 chances. So how did you manage to do that? How did you manage to get all that in your...
Even me sometimes, when I look at my portfolio, I'm like, girl, but I'm proud of myself too. But it's a combination of people. I'm sure I've flagged the thing about people being my currency and all. People and opportunity means preparedness, I mean, I go back to Harriet. God knows how many doors she opened. Harriet is one of many women. If I start to write today, the book will be full, but I always use her as that pivotal point because she was the first person that opened up. And then, so being outside Nigeria, one of the things I told myself is, living in the Middle East or in the West, the opportunities that would be presented to me by virtue of my environment, I would ensure that when they come my way, I would, whether I'm prepared or I'm not prepared, I will dive in. I've told you before, I'm a doer. When people are thinking, I'm doing. So when opportunities present themselves to say, oh, can you, I will say, yes, I'll think about it. What I realize that does to people is people always now remember to give you right of first refusal because boss Ivie will do it. Ivie will say yes. Ivie will sort it out. Ivie will be. So that's how these opportunities came. The first one was Off-White. And I remember when we got the call and I was one of the lead local stylists for the Off-White show in Qatar. We worked with Kennedy London on that. And then it was a 2-week, and it was amazing. We worked with different with like high-end ateliers in the world, high-end visual merchandising, and we had all the dignitaries in the world. There was Naomi Campbell was there, Sheikha Mayasa, Sheikha Mozada was there, and that was fine. And apparently, I left a good impression with the Kennedy London team. And then the next time Valentino was coming back to Qatar to do an exhibition, guess what?
Called your girl.
And that's how I got on that again. And of course, I always ensure when I go into that, some people are there to just, okay, I want to do this thing. For me, I'm a fashion designer. I'm continuously honing my skills. So I'm sitting, by virtue of the Valentino project, we worked with the, as in most elite Valentino team from the atelier in, was it Italy? I can't remember where. And I was opportune to work with them. So I learned craftsmanship from them. Still, I use it for my personal brand, Ivie, also for my DWL. Don't forget, I am a tailored suiting brand. I run a tailored suiting brand, DWL. So there's so much learning. I was making sure I was putting all my efforts to make a good impression with the team. I was also learning for my brand, learning for my own personal thing. So it's just always a win-win. And one thing I realized is one open door leads to another open door. The first time somebody says, oh, come in, give me an opportunity. Subsequent ones is people saying, oh, she did well. I want her on my team. And that's how it just began to open. And that's how I also ended up working with Naomi Campbell and the Emerge team, during the World Cup. And even when they had left, myself and my other friend, who also left a very good impression, Dila, were entrusted to manage the gallery during the World Cup, for them. So yes, I would say I have been opportune to work on many of these amazing projects, and my eyes stay open for more. But it's a combination of people opening doors for me, mentioning my names in doors where I'm not opening, and always being ready when people say yes. Combination of both, and also getting there and opening my eyes to ensure I leave a good impression, put in the work, no storytelling. I think these are the things that help me to continuously break these doors and get into, these places.
This is so interesting because one of the things that crossed my mind when you were talking about doors being open, even when people go to EVA, even when they're not sure, you say yes. It reminds me of the fake it till you make it that a lot of people say, like new entrepreneurs or even people in business generally will say fake it till you make it. But what I realized is not fake it till you make it that makes you make it. What makes you make it is the hard work. Because yes, the doors open, and you realize that when you're faking, you fake, and you're out of the door. One door opens, but another one doesn't open. But the fact that you have good work etiquette, so from what I'm learning from you, the fact that you're applying yourself, they even say, okay, do you know what? Even though we don't have a project for you, they can refer you to someone else, which is what led to you doing the exhibition with Naomi Campbell in Qatar. And then that doors opening. And what I like about your story is you're not only thinking about yourself, you're also thinking about giving back. With the Building Fashion Africa.
Building African fashion.
What the hell is wrong with me?
Building Fashion Africa.
Okay. And you know what? It's not just about you just looking out for yourself, but it's also about you giving back with the Building African Fashion project that you're supporting. Would you like to talk more about that and what that means? And then, people can see how you're also looking at paying it forward, sort of, is what I would say.
Yeah, so like I said, my story is not complete without the many women that I've ridden on their shoulders. This is dating far back to when I was in finance, to fashion, in Nigeria, in Qatar, even here in Canada. So as much as I ride on people's shoulder, get opportunities and make sure that I don't, first of all, when people plug me into places, I'm first thinking, hey, this plug that Tolu gave me, Tolu cannot get a feedback that if it did not come through, and all that. But also it's very important for me to give back. People open doors for me. I also ensure I'm constantly cheering, opening doors, supporting my peers, people coming after me, and even people who have, come through for me. And like you mentioned, Building Africa Fashion is one of the newest things that I've gotten into. Basically, Building Africa Fashion is a platform that supports African fashion to put us on the map, to just ensure that we are mainstream. African fashion should not be like everybody. People talk, it's time for Africa. It's time for Nigeria. No, it's not a fad. It's something that's here to stay, and they are building these platforms. So in December last year, I was appointed as one of the advisory members for fashion internship.
So should it be?
Yes. And one of the things that drew me to that was when I go in, I see the impact of internship. I see the impact of opening doors to people. Being these places I'm talking about, if I wasn't living in Qatar, for example, if I wasn't exposed to like the elite atelier team of Valentino, for example, there are certain things in craftsmanship that I would not know. So when the fact that I'm able to work on them on this project, I see people, how internship helps. I see when doors are open for people, how it helps them see beyond their times, prepare them for, the future and all that. So Building Africa Fashion, I'm working with them to ensure that I do my own part and ensure that fashion internships are something that we give people of my skin color opportunity to. One of the things that I'm doing with Building African Fashion is to ensure that this fashion internship mindset, this is something that I want to push a lot of people have opened doors for me. I want to be able to use this platform to open doors for people, to give them, to link, to be a bridge between opportunities for fashion internships projects with also, Africans who are also trying to get into fashion, solidify themselves in fashion, so that that's my own quota to ensuring that African fashion is not just a fad. We are mainstream, we are elite, we are, elevated luxury. Whenever I see luxury African fashion, it warms my heart, So this is, I feel like working with them over a 2-year period, what I was appointed in December, will help me, contribute my part into ensuring that, we grow fashion talents, and give them global opportunities to be able to be visible and to learn from it.
And you know what? Thank you for that, Ivie. And again, congratulations
on
being appointed. And what you said is powerful because it's about the opportunities and bridging the gap. Yes. And that's what I was saying about giving back, because someone else is there and like you're just taking and opening the door.
You need to oil the wheel.
So giving back is very, very important. Apprenticeship is one of the best ways to do that. I've had cases and situations, earlier in my career where I had to just say, you know what? I'll just be here. Don't pay me. Just let me learn.
Yes.
And then when people come to me now and go, oh, Tolu, can I observe? Like, why not? Like, I will even pay you. Stipend. Like, come on. And So, it's good for paying for. One of the other things I was going to say, listening to you about, opening doors and, working with all these people, Naomi Campbell and all that. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. Let's talk about, don't you have the way of thinking, am I meant to be here? How have you silenced that voice?
Silenced. How am I? Like, it's continuous. Sorry to interrupt your question.
So one of the things you spoke about, which I've been thinking in my head, how did Ivie navigate that, is you being in the same room as people like Naomi Campbell. I know me, I'm like, my gosh, she's here. And then, working Valentino, and then doors just being open, like your exhibition and all that. So my question is, how did you manage that? And how are you still managing that? Because I know it can play two ways. So just tell me about your journey with imposter syndrome. How have you stopped it? If you've stopped it, please, I need to know. And if you're coping with it, how are you coping with it?
So the second part of the question is the real question. It's not how have you stopped it. I think as an entrepreneur, as a creative, you're constantly fighting. Well, I am constantly fighting imposter syndrome. Sometimes it starts from this room I'm with, these people I'm with, this life I'm living. Is this real? Are you sure they won't soon catch me to say, oh no, are you sure they won't find me out soon? Sometimes it's a big project and you're thinking, no, there's no way someone could have entrusted me to do this. When someone calls you to say, oh, my team and I got your number from somebody, my team and I were going to Harvard for something, I heard that you had want to dress us, and you're thinking, oh my God, or the management team of TVC wants to be dressed and they say you should dress them, and like, oh, what if I mess up? Or you're in rooms with people where you think they're listening to your opinion and you're thinking, are you sure? So it creeps on. And all these have given are good scenarios where things are working well, You're just like, are you sure I'm meant to be here? And you just realize that you are living, what you have dreamed about. At those times, you need people around you. Because all I said were good, but it can shake you. You need people around to remind you, say, Ivie, you didn't get this by accident. You are equipped for this. People who will list and say, have you forgotten? You've done this, you've done this, you've done that. Or I also believe in counting your blessings, naming them one by one. So I was one of the champions of this. I think this last December, this gratitude 2025, where people said, I've done this. I love it so much because
posting on
I call it count your blessings, name them one by one. When you see this thing, when I look through them or I read them, I'm like, okay, girl, you've done a bit. So those are the things that help you. Number one, surrounding yourself with people who will continuously speak, positivity into who will gas you up. Also being that person to yourself, looking at the things and also understanding. I think in my journey in entrepreneurship, and as a creative, I think that God has helped me validate DWL. And not just, there's DWL, there's myself, there's in my corner. There are different expressions of Ivie. I think that God has validated it so much that when I feel that way, I'm like, no, fam, you've done this and you've seen how God has said it. So basically, I would say surround yourself with the right people, who would get you in those rooms and remind you why you are in those rooms. And then I freaking belong. I know that I belong.
Of course you do.
One thing I do is confidence on steroids. So even when I feel I can feel that way, I can share it with a few people around me, but I never come out and look like, I don't wear my fear on my head. I continuously do it afraid. So I think those are the things that help me to manage imposter syndrome every day. Because I'm sure tomorrow I'll still wake up with imposter syndrome again. But as usual, I'll knock it down. And that's how I get into these rooms and do all these things. And we talked about, giving back. I also remind people. If people tell you, if Ivie is your friend, you're in trouble, I will push you, I will support you, I will gas you, because I know that everybody needs all those things once in a while. So as much as I have people who do that for me, I'm also very big on, doing that for my friends and people around me.
And I can testify to that. Did I tell them the story? I just said, Ivie, are you coming on the show? Yes, I'll dress you up. And then at my house, she's weaving my hair. It's not fast enough. And I'm like, okay, no, you have to be on point. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's what I need. This is the energy I need right now. So I'm just like, I don't want to worry about what to wear, So yes, that's true. I can testify to that. It's not just, it's just saying stories. Okay. So I was going to ask you about, now that you've spoken about overcoming the imposter syndrome, I want to talk about when you started off. I'm sure there was a point in your career as an entrepreneur, as a creative, where you were underpricing, or did you? Maybe you didn't. Yes. And I know this is a serious problem for lots of entrepreneurs, where you're on the price, or you feel like I shouldn't charge enough. Would you say that has a relationship with the imposter syndrome? And if not, for you, in your own experience, how did you overcome? When did you wake up to go, man, DWL, we are charging this, and because we've worked out and we own it? At what point? When did that transition happen for you?
Yeah, so let me this is the part where I will tell you my small story about DWL. I started DWL from dressing myself. I wanted to dress like Jessica Pearson in suits. I was working 9 to 5. I have a 14-year career in supply chain finance, nothing like fashion. And then I realized that I knew what walking into rooms and looking the part does to a woman. I don't think I had the money for it, but I knew. So I started to, make clothes for myself. And then it started off with people saying, oh, make for me. So DWL started with the validation already. I understand the concept of penetrative pricing. So then I started off with the excitement. I'm just happy. I'm just so happy to dress people. I just want to dress them. Until one day I realized, okay, girl, yeah, you're happy to dress them. You're getting these people. So meaning if people were not coming this much, you would say, okay, maybe I'm not getting it right. You're getting it right. But it needs to make sense. The economics has to make sense. The first time I had to change my price to reflect, one day I sat down and I said, Ivie, you're arguing with fabric sellers. This fabric is so expensive. This one is that one. At what point do you realize that if you want to run a tailored certain brand and you want it to be tailored, it's luxury. You need to know that this is the kind of materials, fabric, and accessories you will use, and you need to find people who are willing to pay. At what point you go stop fighting Americana in the market to say it's so expensive, blah blah blah? And that was for me. I said, okay, if I'm going to be able to position, dress women as powerfully as I want with presence and all, it needs to come with certain kinds of, the whole ecosystem. And that's when I told myself, this is going to be my price. It was difficult. One thing I realized is that it's easier for somebody to go and meet a new vendor and pay $500 for the thing they refuse to pay you $400 from when you were charging them $300 before. People are not used to change. So I had to tell myself, if you need to redefine who your target audience is and be able to price enough to cater for them to the right quality and make a profit. That was when I was starting. At different times in the life of DWL, I've had to scale to say, okay, this is, we are trying to upskill ourselves. It was also difficult. Okay, oh, you were charging this price before, why are you increasing this price? Even when it's obvious that market realities have changed, we are trying to now maybe increase like a bespoke or luxury arm. I know that people are resistant to change, but wait it out. But most important, it's not just to wait it out. Ensure that, I always had to ensure that I'm giving additional value or the right kind of value for what I'm pricing. I'm not pricing you different from the luxury items that you're pricing. Let me use a classic DWL. The people who buy from DWL are people who will typically buy very high-end name designer brands. So at the end of the day, I'm still giving you, my price might not be cheap. It's not cheap because you are paying for the value you're getting. But it's much more reasonably priced than the average designers that you will get. So those are the things that I had to tell myself to say when I was starting, real DWL, and even when I was scaling. So it follows me. And many founders, I'm sure, will agree with me. When you are scaling, there will be resistance, especially when from a price standpoint. But if you get your target market right, you always deliver value. It's just a matter of time. You will continue to grow. People would accept it. Other people will resist, but they will accept. New people will get to the time, and then you would grow. So it's nothing new. It's daunting, but it's very much doable. At the beginning, I used to panic a lot when I needed to, but now I already know how it's going to play out. But I ensure that I'm bringing my own end to the table, me and my team, and I'm also ensuring that people are paying for what we are worth, so that there's continuity, there's sustainability in the business, and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, and then does this happen to you that probably when you have one person pay, and then you're like, oh, I'm not being crazy because this person can pay for it, and
yes,
this person sees the value. So it's a matter of you not seeing the value. And I think the most important thing that you've said today, which everyone should note, is people are resistant to change.
Yes,
because I've heard, like this morning, a friend still calls me about someone wanting her to do something for her free. Meanwhile, the person is paying another vendor to deliver the same service.
Happens all the time.
And then we're having a conversation, and she's like, but Tolu, she's my friend. I said, no, she's not your friend. If she's not paying, but she's going to pay another vendor to do this because change. She's used to getting from you free.
So the concept of now charging her,
or paying is like, or trying to undercut you, like, oh, I'll just pay you this amount, oh, because you're my friend. But then you go to another vendor and pay the person full price. I'm like, no, that's not. So that's very powerful.
Happens all the time. But you need to learn to play the waiting game. You need, at the end of the day, as long as you are bringing value, you're not just spiking up prices. That friend who went somewhere else, she will circle back at some point. And if she doesn't circle well, oh well. But if you charge right, if even when you increase your prices, as long as you are delivering value, you continue to ensure, you will continue to see that your target market will continue to patronize you.
I like that. Yeah. And I think from another entrepreneur to another entrepreneur, what I would say is to kind of highlight is the value, because that's one of the challenges I've found. I've had people that have charged me so high, and the service I'm getting, I'm like, it doesn't marry up. And a lot of people believe that if I charge high, that makes me luxurious. That makes me a subject matter expert. In some cases, yeah, it does apply. But when I come to you, you're charging me so high, and then you're not even accountable for the things you need to do. You're like, oh, well, because you didn't. I'm like, if you're even a professional and you will not say because I didn't. You will own up to what you did and probably apologize. You know what I'm trying to say? I think that there's that disconnect where people just want to charge really high.
So value has to match.
Yes, yeah, but they're not ready to walk the walk. And what you said about you work hard, you do they just want to put the price. And AI now, you can just put anything on your page and all that. So how can you just sometimes? But you have to do the work, and that's what I was saying about faking it to make it doesn't really work. If you're not putting in the work, you can fake it, but once you're in the work. And then you make it. No, you fake. You're out of the door, man. You know.
The one I believe is always opportunity means preparedness. When people tell you, can you do it? Say yes. Then figure out how to scale up and do it. Not fake it and just do it properly, excellently. Yeah. Break your back whilst you're doing it, because most times the learning curve. But ensure that you are delivering value to people who have commissioned you to do stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we're here.
Yes.
Ivie, I'm so happy to have you on the show. Honestly, I'm really excited. I'm enjoying this conversation.
I'm not talking too much.
No, you're not. It's Tolu Dialogues.
We're dialoguing. Yeah. Okay.
So I know there's something that you love to say, which is style is power and fashion is personality, right? So what does that mean for someone that's watching as an entrepreneur? Because in this world where personal branding is a big thing, whether you're branding yourself personally as an individual or your business, what can you say to them in terms of owning this phrase?
Okay, so I'll say very, very closely related to style and power is authenticity. I will pledge and I always advocate for people to always show up as their authentic selves. That's where style trumps fashion. Like I will tell people, find your personal style, meaning the Tolu way, the Ivie way.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
The Ivie way, I was in Ivie's house yesterday at 9:30 p.m. or thereabout, and she had gone to the seamstress or something.
Yes.
And then she was all decked up in jeans after. And I was like, sorry, where are you coming from? It's like, no, I just went to the seamstress and I was like, oh, so that would be your style.
That is typical Ivie.
Regardless of whether it's your bad day or your good day.
Yeah, when people say, you dress too much, you go somewhere. Okay, fine, that's good. I'm still going to dress like that. I will show up how I want to show up. And I always tell people,
I should take from it.
No, take. Do you. You know, style, that's like I said, Ivie way, Tolu way. Even when people think you are doing too much, even when people think, oh, it's not my cup of tea, but they will not forget that this is typical Ivie. So that way you're not swayed. When people even want to bring opportunities your way, that's why they'll say things like, oh, I think this is typical Tolu. She would let people know what you stand for. It helps you in a world where it's difficult to be authentic because there's so much bandwagon, there's so much, personal style now then gives you power, what you can build on. You can improve on what people already know that you are. If you don't so style, when I say style, it's not just about, fashion. In everything, of course, I'm very vain. So the style, the fashion, yes, very vain. But just generally, let people know what you stand for, your personal style, both for personal branding, for how you look, how you say, what your views are. People will then be able to help you, get better at it. And then you would live a very authentic, it will help you to live an authentic life in, this kind of fast-paced world where everybody wants to move things together. So yes, so that phrase is very important to me because of how much it exudes authenticity and how being authentic, people will tell you, Ivie will always show up as typical Ivie. Ivie is loud, Ivie does the most. But even down to this lip color today, I remember the little, and I'm like, no, I want to feel like myself.
We're going to do a whole segment on the best lip color for Ivie. That's another story entirely, honestly.
So basically, that's my charge to people, to always show up, always find your personal style, and then just things get easier for you. So I'll say that's my explanation of that phrase.
Okay, I hear you, but there's also that part of way they say you improve.
Yes.
So having your style, because you said something about I adapt myself and all that, but you still remain true to who you are, but you just see how that can fit into the self without changing who you are. Because then you find out, like, I noticed that as you find out that people do some things, joke about maybe you travel for 3 months and you come back and act in a certain way, and then people are like, so you can evolve, but also you stay true to who you are, and then that does not stop you from
evolving. Let people say, oh, she's acting brand new, it's fine, because I feel like I want to improve this or that, but at the end of the day, I'll still stay true to who typical Ivie would adapt. So if Ivie adapting, bothers you, it's fine, but that's a typical Ivie, and that is my superpower in how I've been able to break into these spaces. I'm not going to change just to fit into people's narrative.
Yeah, I think you adapt, but then they will still go. So if I had to call Valentino now, or call I don't know, the Qatar exhibition, and I'm like, oh, do you know this Ivie lady? She wears bright colors.
Yes.
She's like, oh, we know her.
That's typical
Not
Ivie.
I'm calling, do you know this Ivie lady? And they're like, I'm like, she wears like really long dresses and she likes to cover her hair and we don't wear gloves, and I'm like, nah, we don't know her, because that's what we're saying about truth. So that personality carries on every
Let
time.
your personality be the same and then learn, adapt, improve along the way. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that should be easy for an entrepreneur to do in order to succeed in business, which is why you said about you creating that whole. I think that is a fiber into everything we've spoken about today, in terms of even you adapting in Qatar, in terms of you coming here to Canada and you're doing this, you're doing bigger things and all that. So yeah, if a founder is watching this show right now and that founder is feeling invisible, like they're doing all the hard work, they're working really hard, what you said about preparing themselves, but they're still feeling like they're not being seen, what would be your advice for them to do, for what they can do to even change themselves internally first before that comes to the physical? Just I'm trying, like, you're working really hard, you're doing all the Instagram posts, ads, you're working for people, but just feel like you're not just breaking that barrier. What would be the advice?
So I think every once in a while, this is kind of leaning in, it's not hard imposter syndrome, but it's leaning into, sometimes when the ground is shaking beneath you because, you are creating for people and you don't know whether they would accept what you want to accept, or you don't know whether you should be doing this. But I would say, first of all, talk to the voice in your head. There's a why. There's a reason why you started doing whatever you are doing. Remind yourself why you are doing those things. Find people around you who would remind you, who would constantly remind you that you are who you are and then you can do better. I think, and also opportunities will come. Your network is very important.
I think you said that. I'm already thinking, I know I have a good circle of friends, by the way.
Yes.
And
your network is exactly your network is very important. Your professional network, your social network. Just continuously surround yourself with people who would keep your creative juices flowing, who, if you're a founders like you, so that, I'm not saying you shouldn't have friends with people who are not founders, but have a professional circle, have a social circle, people that just generally remind you and keep your creative juices from flowing, and then remind yourself of your why. And then if you're a Christian like me, hold on to God, because in times like that. And then also, like I said, count your blessings, name them one by one. Always document and go and check things that you have done before that made you, anything that you've done before that made you feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Don't forget those things. Always, check on all those things. I think those will help you, with that. So just to recap, your network, always say yes to opportunities, and then remind yourself of your why and hold on to God. So that's my advice to founders. It will be tough sometimes, it will be good sometimes. I mean, I've moved countries, I've pivoted from finance to fashion, but here I am standing because I've leaned into people. I remind myself of my why. I continuously hone my craft. And when I go into new countries, I always find ways, network links to, get into the country and adapt into, for the people who are there. Cultural realities are also, yes.
And what about people that are not people? Like people that don't like, not that they don't like people, but they don't have that confidence, or they don't feel like, I want to talk to a lot of people. I'm talking about the people partner, the networking, because I know something you've said so much, I'm going to talk to you about your networking skills, is networking. And some people just want to be by themselves. They don't want to, even when they go out networking, they probably talk to the person they know, or talk to one person.
If you're going to be a founder,
speak to them and tell them.
Girl, if you're going to be a founder, you have to open your mouth, you have to open your heart, you have to network. People have handheld me into networking with the right people. I have handheld so many people. I still met one of my friend's sister here in Canada, and she was reminding me in 2016 when she was coming for Wimbies, and her sister said, go and meet Ivie, and I held her hand the entire Wimbies, dragging her to meet people, come out of her shell, which was reminding me now. I was like, oh, that's classic. I didn't remember, but I know that was classic Ivie. So you can't be a founder and want to be in your cocoa. No, you need to. If I didn't meet the right people who open doors to meet other people, I won't be able to talk about being conquering in different countries I've been to. So as a founder, I know that you might be introverted, but you need to be able to put on your founder hat. You need to put on your game, you need to be able to network with people on the professional side. In your personal life, you can keep it quiet, but you don't want we don't run in silos. There's so much good that a network can do for you. When you have a solid network, it opens you up to collaboration opportunities. It opens you up to opportunities that you would not even have known. People will be able to say, oh, I know Tolu can do this. If Tolu is just in her house, who's going to know Tolu? You know, it would open you up to things. It's okay, Tolu, if you don't, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? You need to surround yourself with the right kind of people, because sometimes networking not done well, and take it from me, I'm a queen of networking, can be very daunting. Find your tribe. You don't want to, it doesn't have to be one to all. There's peer-to-peer networking, there's, networking down, networking up. Just do it one at a time. If one-to-one works best for you, meet one person at a time, one event at a time, and just naturally you will see. Not everybody will become, you walk into a room and take over the room, but every founder should be able to, just plug into networking, because the opportunities and the benefits
outweighs being
so come out of your comfort zone. It might not be your comfort zone, but come out
and do it in stages. Like you said, do it in stages. Go with a friend if you're going to feel like, oh my god, I'm overwhelmed with this idea.
Someone will handhold you.
Yes, I think that's a good advice. And thank you for coming.
Thank
As
you.
we're rounding, I want to ask you one more question. So talking about hand holding, I know you spoke about Harriet in the beginning. Are there any other, without name dropping or without,
I was going to start reading out names,
because just in case you forget someone, that like, oh, she forgot about me.
Yeah.
But I know that there's some people that must have led to that pivotal moments in your life, like the Harriet moment. Are there any other circumstances or women that played other pivotal, had other pivotal impacts in your life?
Okay, so I've always reading on the shoulder of women, from my earliest cousin, my earliest big cousin, who maybe showed me how to shop, to women who have had my back while I was working 9 to 5, to women who have mentored me while I was having children and managing a career, to moving countries, starting into fashion, opening doors for me. There are so many, like you said, without calling names, but I have really reading on the shoulder of women. And that's why when people, I always tell people I'm a girl's girl, and people can attest to that.
Yes, she is a girl's girl.
I believe so much in sisterhood. And that's why I even have like an initiative. So tying in sisterhood, collaboration, networking is what led me to In My Corner. So In My Corner campaign is an initiative that I run with my photographer friend Joko. Basically, it spotlights female friendship, alliances, and connections. It shows us the magic that happens when women support each other. So when people talk about this narrative of women don't support women, honestly, it's not my reality at all. Have I had women who have
reality as well? I always think about
I don't
that.
know
Maybe it's the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
I don't, like you said, I'm surrounded with women and they've always supported
me.
They've
pushed me.
We've been here. You've seen me call someone, pick my cat's son, I'm still on the set. Like, you don't understand. I have women like that, as all my friends.
Exactly. So In My Corner is a platform that we use to, that noise that women don't support women, we use In My Corner to drown that noise. So it's a global, it's beyond the campaign now, it's a global movement where we spotlight women around the world. It could be friends, it could be sisters who are friends, it could be colleagues who have turned friends, it could be industry competitors who are friends, it could be people who have had a long-term friendship for over the years, from secondary school to in their 50s, just different strata. But basically, if you watch In My Corner, which you should watch, you will see women's stories, and you will see the magic that happens. In My Corner marries the things that women are very passionate about. Paying dress up, so we dress them in DWL. Photography, I mean, imagine putting friends together doing a photo shoot, and then we sit them down to tell their stories. And when we get the feedback, like this year's In My Corner, last year, with the new year now, when we hear the people's feedback from watching In My Corner, I know that when people ask me, Ivie, who are you? I said, there's no one. There are different expressions of Ivie. There's Ivie, there's DWL, there's In My Corner, which is a major expression of me. And I'm so happy that, with Joko and all the collaborators that we have on In My Corner, God is using us to amplify stories of female friendship, alliances, and connections to, drown this narrative and amplify it around the world. So it's extremely important to me, and it helps me when I say girls sisterhood. I'm walking the talk within My Corner. It's not just saying it. So
And
yes.
and really, really, it's beautiful to watch, and just the unity amongst the women as well. Like when we are talking about, I can see,
You
I can
hear
connect,
inside
yes,
gist inside.
yes, and then it's just where everybody's also relaxed because again, they're amongst their friends.
friends.
So I'm just laughing. I was like, I like the fact that also that even when you guys are moderating, you're almost like part of the
And
family.
let me even tell you how we moderated. I know I digress. Last year, we're going to get somebody, like we're going to find someone, like so one a professional person. And Liz, thank you, Liz, the PR, she runs So Many Solutions. She's like, you guys should do it yourself. And that's the best thing that we had. I now even realize
Your
that I have
authenticity is
moderating
there.
skills.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm the best Oprah. I'm coming for your job, Tolu. So yes, it was.
Already, I told you the celebrate. We're helping.
It was beautiful, them sitting on set very relaxed, dressed in DWL, photographed by Posh Click, and then, tell their beautiful stories, inside gist, crying moment, laughing moments. And like I said, people's feedback is the greatest joy that I see. People telling them about how, we have people who are talking about how they've given friendship a second chance because they watch In My Corner. People who have said, people who have said In My Corner validates their thoughtship, their
values
thoughts on friendship and all that. So it's been beautiful to watch.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where do you see all expressions of EVA in the next 5 years?
I like the word expressions of Ivie, first of all. And in the
You should write a book about that.
I'm going to write books, and you guys are going to buy the book. So Ivie, I see Ivie Ivie will continue to be an authority and a voice in fashion. The entire fashion ecosystem globally. He's not just both as a fashion designer, as a wardrobe consultant, and somebody who's actively trying to put African fashion, luxury fashion on the map. Ivie will continuously be a reference point as somebody who exudes confidence and works with women to show up every day as elevated versions of themselves, to walk into rooms and take up space through DWL, which is another expression. Ivie would also continuously work, of course, through In My Corner, will continuously give a global voice to the magic that happens when sisterhood connects, when female friendships, alliances, and connections. And the truth is, if I see how Ivie has evolved over the years, I always say I envy 45-year-old Ivie. I just turned 40 last year, by the way. I envy 50-year-old Ivie because I have continued. When they say people age like fine wine, I think it's Ivie they're referring to.
Yes,
so
definitely.
I even, envy myself. So I also want to see DWL in every major, presence in every major city in the world. And I want DWL both as a community of women showing up as amplifiers of themselves and showing up with presence, and also as a tailor-fitting brand. I see the brand being an authority and a voice for confidence in women, around the world.
And how can people? So one, I want you to tell the viewers the full meaning of DWL. That's very important.
Okay.
And then how people can actually buy your suits. Actually, the ones in Canada.
Okay, yes.
Because we're in Canada, sorry.
Exactly.
and then all over the world because it's a global brand. Yeah.
Okay, DWL means defining women's lifestyle. I like the way it sounds because it's giving power. So basically, it's a tailored fitting brand that dresses women for presence, to walk into rooms and take up space, whether it's in the boardroom, whether it's in the social gathering, casual, show up, and without even opening your mouth, people look at you and already know you already look the part. That's what DWL does. To be able to shop from DWL, there are 3 options. You can send us a DM on Instagram. You can click on the link on bio on Instagram, take us to our WhatsApp. And you can also check our website, www.dwlonline.com, where we have different options of outfits and also ready to wear, bespoke, made to measure. Basically, we're ready to work with you to dress and walk into rooms and be present. That's the DWL
Yeah, and
promise.
be present,
And
like
be present.
with confidence.
With confidence.
When you wear the suit, you're like,
you look like
I got it.
You look like Oprah. You look like Oprah today,
Thank you.
Thank
I take
you
it as a
very
compliment.
much. Thank you.
And anyway, Ivie, thank you very much for coming. And guys, all the links will be in the bio. So just click in the bio and yes, let's support one another. All the women out there should have a piece of DWL in your wardrobe.
A wardrobe full of DWL.
Yeah. A wardrobe full. So Ivie doesn't come.
No copy. No copy.
A wardrobe full of DWL.
Thank you.
So there's something we do on ToluDialogues.
Okay.
And it's called the ToluDialogues dance. Just a shimmery dance.
Are we standing?
No.
Okay.
No, don't let us stand. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So after ready, steady, go, there you go.
Okay.
So ready, steady, go.
Inspire, empower, elevate.
So So that's our ToluDialogues. So
Thank you.
thank everybody for watching. Until next time, you know what to do. Go on our YouTube page, download, follow us, subscribe, and then the link below will tell you more about Ivie and our brand as well. So thank you for watching and have a blessed day. Till next time.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank